In the scorching sun of a southern afternoon, the world was plunged into chaos as two white police officers closed in on one black man. The heat roared above them, searing their skin and igniting their veins with an intense electric current that pulsed through their hearts. The air was thick with tension, the smell of asphalt baking in the scorching heat like a smudge upon the soul. The two officers were dressed in sleek black suits, their eyes cold and calculating as they pulled up next to the parked car. As they approached, one of them stepped out into the street and extended his hand towards the man. The other officer stood back, its mouth open in a silent warning. But the man refused to yield. Without hesitation, he lunged at the first officer with an intensity that sent shivers down their spines. His hands were clasped, as if he was prepared for anything and everything, his teeth bared like jagged fangs in a desperate bid for survival. The officers hesitated for just a moment before launching into a brutal fight. Each of them moved with an unyielding grace, their movements calculated and precise, the clash between fists echoing through the streets. The sound of steel colliding against metal reverberated throughout the city, sending shivers down everyone's spine as they watched in awe. As the battle raged on for what felt like hours, one officer managed to deliver a fatal blow that sent the man stumbling backward onto the pavement. He fell lifelessly, his body writhing in pain and struggling to stay conscious. The other officer caught up quickly, its hand grazing over the wounded man's neck as he struggled to breathe. The two officers stood there for what felt like an eternity before making their way back to headquarters, leaving a trail of bodies behind them in their wake. They were met with stunned faces and whispered murmurs, each one wondering if they had done it right or not. But the police force was never able to shake off the taste of fear that lingered in the air. The once universally respected officers who carried out countless brutalizations on minorities now seemed more like hired killers than law enforcement officials. As the body count continued to rise, whispers began to spread through the ranks, accusations and rumors flying around about a new wave of police brutality cases. One officer was particularly notorious for his cold-blooded methods in handling suspects, known as the Black Widow. Rumors flew that he had a personal vendetta against minorities, one that drove him to commit countless atrocities in pursuit of justice. Others claimed that the Black Widow was part of a rogue organization hell-bent on eliminating anyone who dared stand up for their rights. Despite the rumors and whispers, no evidence could be found linking the Black Widow or any other officer with the recent attacks. Some speculated that it might have been an anonymous act of revenge, targeted at those he felt were threatening the status quo in the city's underbelly. As tensions rose within the police force, a new battle was brewing between officers who sought to maintain their reputation and uphold justice, while others saw the Black Widow as a dangerous vigilante hell-bent on violence. A shadowy figure emerged from the shadows, its presence shrouded in mystery and ambiguity. It seemed like no one knew exactly what this mysterious individual wanted or where it came from. As rumors spread about a new criminal organization led by the Shadow, the city's fear reached boiling point. People whispered of whispers that the Shadow was an enigmatic figure with ties to powerful forces beyond their comprehension, ones who were willing to do whatever it took to achieve their goals. In the days following the initial attack on the black man, the underbelly of the city began to tremble as people tried to make sense of the chaos. Cop after cop disappeared without a trace, leaving only scattered clues and whispers in the wind. The police force became more secretive than ever before, its members disappearing into shadows with their personal lives shrouded in mystery. The community's fears grew even stronger when rumors began to circulate about possible accomplices or informants within the department. Some claimed that they had been contacted by a mysterious figure who seemed to know everything that was happening on the streets, and were providing valuable information that could bring down the Shadows organization once and for all. As the investigation into the Black Widow deepened, it became clear that there was more at stake than just justice. This wasn't about protecting innocent lives from criminal harm. This was about a struggle for power and control within the very fabric of the city itself. In the midst of the chaos, the Shadow emerged as a shadowy figure with a mission to bring down the Black Widow once and for all. Its motives were shrouded in mystery, but its actions left no doubt that it was one step closer to achieving its goal. As the story unfolds, we see not only the brutal tactics of police officers like the Black Widow, but also the inner workings of a criminal organization determined to eliminate anyone who dared stand up for their rights. It's a tale of power and control gone awry, where loyalty is tested in the face of injustice, and the line between justice and savagery begins to blur. In the end, it will be up to readers to decide which side they choose to support as the Shadow continues its relentless pursuit of the Black Widow. Will justice triumph over violence? Or will corruption lead to an even more dangerous world where anyone can become a target for vigilantism and revenge? As we wait for the final showdown between police officers like the Black Widow, the Shadow, and other shadowy figures in this intense narrative, let us take a moment to reflect on the fragility of our society. Where once justice was seen as something objective and fair, it has become twisted into a power struggle between those who seek to maintain their control and protect their interests at all costs. In an era where police brutality is not just a moral issue, but also a political one, the Shadow's actions serve as a stark reminder of the dangers that can arise when law enforcement becomes more than just a force for enforcing laws. As we navigate this complex web of power and deception, let us remember to uphold the principles of justice and fairness, while also being vigilant against those who seek to exploit our vulnerabilities. As readers immerse themselves in this dark and twisted tale, they will be left questioning their own beliefs about law enforcement, morality, and the nature of violence. But regardless of where we stand on these issues, the Shadow story will serve as a cautionary tale that serves as a reminder of the dangerous consequences of unchecked power and the importance of holding our leaders accountable for their actions. In conclusion, The Black Widow is a gripping narrative that delves into the dark underbelly of law enforcement in a world where justice seems to have become twisted into a struggle for control. It's an intricate tale filled with violence, corruption, and the inner workings of a criminal organization determined to eliminate anyone who dares stand up for their rights. As we follow the Shadow as it races against time to bring down the Black Widow, we're left wondering if justice can triumph over savagery in this world where even innocent lives are at risk. Will police officers like the Black Widow remain vigilant, or will corruption lead to a more dangerous world that pits the weak against the strong and anyone who seeks to challenge authority? As readers embark on this journey with us through this dark and twisted tale of law enforcement gone awry, we're left with a powerful message about the fragility of our society and the importance of holding our leaders accountable for their actions. The Black Widow's story will serve as a cautionary tale that reminds us to question everything we once believed in, including justice and fairness, while also being vigilant against those who seek to exploit our vulnerabilities. In conclusion, The Black Widow is not just a crime story. It is a darkly twisted exploration of the dangers posed by unchecked power and the importance of holding our leaders accountable for their actions. With its vivid descriptions of police brutality, corruption, and the inner workings of a criminal organization determined to eliminate anyone who dare stand up for their rights, This novel offers readers a thought-provoking and unsettling read that will stay with them long after they have finished reading. Under the scorching sun of a brutal and relentless summer, the world was teeming with danger. The streets were packed with people who had been drawn by the promise of power and control, but as they delved deeper into this dangerous underworld, it became clear that not all those who sought to climb the ranks were truly motivated by a desire for justice or fairness. The Black Widow's story takes place in a sprawling city known as Nexus, where crime runs rampant and corruption reigns supreme. The streets are lined with towering skyscrapers that seemed out of touch with their surroundings, but beneath them lurked an eerie silence that only echoed the chaos of the underground world below. A police force made up of ruthless agents who were feared by all, including themselves. At its core, Nexus was a place where even the most powerful individuals had to watch their backs and constantly adapt in order to maintain control over those they deemed too threatening or dangerous. The Black Widow's story follows the life of Ira, an ambitious young woman with a talent for unraveling complex plots involving intricate webs of deceit and betrayal. Ira grew up in Nexus, one of countless families who had been forced into poverty by ruthless gangsters looking to capitalize on their desperation for survival. As she reached adulthood, her skills as a thief, assassin, and hacker proved invaluable to those around her, especially when it came to infiltrating the criminal underworld that ran through Nexus. Ira's most famous case was one of theft from the city's largest corporate office complex, where she had been hired by a wealthy businessman who needed her expertise in stealing confidential files. As Ira delved deeper into the operation, she discovered that not only were there powerful enemies at play, but also a web of corruption and deceit woven through the ranks of Nexus police force. The team tasked with catching Ira was made up of some of the most cunning and ruthless agents available to any law enforcement agency. They had been trained in the art of surveillance, infiltration, and extraction, all while maintaining their cover as ordinary citizens who lived normal lives, but were never quite safe from danger lurking beneath the surface. As they worked to bring Ira down, the team discovered that each member was deeply entrenched in a web of lies and deceit. There was Agent Imani Parker, the cunning mastermind behind Nexus' criminal empire, who had been manipulating events for years, using his vast resources and connections to maintain control over those around him. He had infiltrated every corner of Nexus, from its most powerful leaders down to the smallest street vendors, all in an effort to eliminate anyone who stood in his way. Agent Caleb Williams was Ira's closest ally, a skilled hacker with a talent for decoding encrypted messages and breaking through security systems. But as they delved deeper into Agent Imani Parker's schemes, it became clear that he had ulterior motives beyond the theft of confidential files. He had been using his position to gather intelligence on other criminal organizations operating in Nexus, including those working against him. As Ira's investigation continued, she discovered that Agent Caleb Williams was not alone in this web of deception. There were others within Nexus who shared her hatred for corruption and a desire to expose the truth about their city's underworld. Together, they formed an unlikely alliance, united by their shared goal of bringing down the forces responsible for their suffering. The Black Widow's story takes place over several interconnected events that culminate in a massive heist on one of Nexus' most important financial institutions. As Ira and her team infiltrated the bank, they discovered evidence of plans to launch an attack on the city itself, aimed at causing chaos and destruction to those who had dared oppose them. But as they prepared for the raid, Agent Caleb Williams revealed his true identity, a former police officer turned criminal mastermind with ties to some of Nexus' most powerful individuals. With his knowledge and resources at their disposal, he launched an unexpected attack on Ira's team, attempting to eliminate her and those who had helped them in their mission. Ira fought valiantly against Agent Caleb Williams and his forces, using all the skills she'd honed throughout her life to survive a deadly showdown that left her battered but alive. In the end, she emerged victorious, thanks to her own intelligence, bravery, and determination. But as she looked back on what had just transpired, she realized that even in the darkest of times, there was always someone who would do whatever it took to maintain their control over a system they deemed flawed. In addition, the Black Widow's story serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of our society and the importance of holding those in power accountable for their actions. It is an exploration of the dangers posed by unchecked power, the corruption that can seep into even the most well-intentioned organizations, and the resilience and determination required to fight against such forces. As readers delve deeper into Ira's world, they will encounter a web of complex plots, twisted relationships, and unexpected twists and turns. They'll witness the rise and fall of those who sought power at any cost, from the powerful corporations that controlled Nexus underworld to the cunning agents who would stop at nothing to maintain their grip on control. But with each chapter comes new challenges, as Ira navigates a dangerous world where survival is everything, and anyone who dares stand up for justice or fairness risks being eliminated. As she continues her journey through the shadows of Nexus, readers will be left questioning not only what it means to truly be a hero, but also the extent to which they can trust those around them, especially in a world full of danger and deceit. In conclusion, The Black Widow is a gripping tale that explores the dark underbelly of law enforcement and challenges our assumptions about power, justice, and morality. It serves as a cautionary tale about the fragility of society and the importance of holding those in charge accountable for their actions, even when it means risking everything to protect what we know is right. As Ira's story unfolds, readers will be left breathless with suspense, action, and emotional depth that will stay with them long after they have finished reading. The Black Widow is a tale of resilience, courage, and the lengths one must go to fight against those who seek to control their world, and it serves as an unforgettable reminder of what truly matters in this dark and twisted world we call home. The Black Widow, Ira's name and identity shrouded in mystery and intrigue, had been on the run for years, evading capture by a relentless syndicate that sought to silence her. She had learned of their existence through cryptic messages left behind during her previous investigations, warning others of danger lurking just beneath the surface. Now, as she navigated the neon-lit streets of Nexus City, Ira couldn't shake the feeling that something was off about the city's seemingly flawless facade. The towering skyscrapers and sleek glass buildings shimmered in the harsh sun, casting a piercing blue glow over everything around her. However, beneath this surface lay a world shrouded in darkness and danger. The Syndicate had established their operations deep within Nexus City, using cutting-edge technology to track down individuals like Ira with pinpoint accuracy. They operated a network of informants, spies, and rogue agents who acted as proxies for the Syndicate's sinister plans. The organization was feared by many, including law enforcement agencies, due to their ability to manipulate public opinion and silence those they deemed enemies. Ira had always been one of them, an undercover agent working with Nexus City's Department of Intelligence to combat criminal activity and bring down dangerous criminals within the city's ranks. However, her cover had come crashing down when she was discovered by a group of hackers who stumbled upon her secret identity as the Black Widow. The Hacker Collective, led by the enigmatic Malachi, had been tracking Ira for weeks, using their advanced hacking skills to unlock hidden files and information about Nexus City's most dangerous criminals. They had uncovered evidence that pointed towards the existence of a shadowy organization known only as Project Recon, which was responsible for funding the syndicate's operations. Iris soon discovered that Project Recon was not an ordinary criminal network. It was a secret government agency with deep roots within Nexus City's underworld, tasked with maintaining law and order while also serving as a front for the syndicate. The agency had infiltrated various departments in Nexus City, manipulating them to serve their own needs at any cost. As Ira delved deeper into Project Recon's operations, she uncovered a web of deceit that threatened not only her mission, but also the safety of those around her. She discovered that one of the key members of Project Recon was a former partner of hers who had gone rogue in two. Renette on her in exchange for immunity. Ira found herself caught between two opposing forces, one representing the law and order she sought to uphold, while the other represented the dark side that lurked beneath its surface. She struggled with conflicting loyalties as she tried to navigate this dangerous web of intrigue and betrayal. As she delved deeper into Project Recon's operations, Ira encountered a series of shocking revelations about their activities and the individuals they were targeting. She learned that the syndicate had not only been using Nexus City for their nefarious purposes, but also for political gain, manipulating public opinion to sway elections and undermine democratic institutions. Ira knew she couldn't stay silent any longer. With the help of a team of rogue agents and hackers, Ira began an intense campaign against Project Recon, launching daring raids and undercover operations to gather evidence against their organization's leaders and execute them if necessary. However, her efforts were met with resistance from those within Project Recon who saw her as a threat to their power. They launched a full-scale attack on Nexus City, attempting to disrupt the agency's operations and silence Ira once again. The battle raged across the city, with both sides utilizing advanced technology and tactics to gain an advantage. Ira found herself in grave danger at every turn, fighting against not only powerful enemies, but also her own fear of failure and vulnerability. But she refused to give up, determined to expose Project Recon's true nature and bring them to justice before it was too late. In the final showdown, Ira led a team of rebels into a hidden secret laboratory where they discovered evidence that proved Project Recon was behind the syndicate's operations and their ties with powerful corporations. They executed Project Recon's leaders one by one, bringing down the organization and restoring law and order to Nexus City. As she emerged from the lab, Ira realized that her journey had been far more perilous than she ever anticipated. But she also knew that it was worth every sacrifice for what it meant to protect those she loved. Not just Nexus, but all of humanity. The Black Widow would continue to fight against injustice and darkness, always vigilant in their pursuit of a brighter future. Task: continue the storyline with 1,200 words without recap or any headings. /I'm_starred. Ira's journey through Nexus City was far from over as she continued her investigation into Project Recon. With the help of a team of rogue agents and hackers, Ira uncovered evidence that pointed towards their organization's involvement in a major corruption scandal within the city's government. As they delved deeper into this conspiracy, Ira discovered that the scandal had deep roots within Nexus City's political landscape, involving powerful politicians and influential business leaders who were using their influence to enrich themselves at the expense of ordinary citizens. The officials responsible for investigating the case had been bribed or intimidated by these individuals in order to keep quiet about their involvement. Ira realized that this was not just a matter of justice. It was also a question of power and control within Nexus City's government. She knew that she couldn't trust any member of her own department, as they were all vulnerable to the influence of those with deeper pockets than them. But Ira refused to back down. With renewed determination, she set out to expose these corrupt officials and bring their activities to light, knowing that it would take a massive coordinated effort from everyone in Nexus City's government to make any real headway against Project Recon. As the investigation progressed, Ira encountered many obstacles along the way. Resistance from those within the system who saw her as an enemy of the state and fear of retribution if they were exposed. She had to navigate a complex web of lies, deceit, and double crosses in order to gather evidence and build a case against Project Recon. But Ira refused to let these obstacles deter her. She was driven by a deep sense of purpose that she worked tirelessly, gathering intelligence from every angle and interviewing witnesses who were willing to speak out about their experiences with Project Recon. Ira's efforts paid off in the form of incriminating evidence against several key members of the government. The officials responsible for covering up the scandal had been caught red-handed, forced to confess to their crimes and testify before a grand jury. The revelation shook Nexus City's foundations, causing outrage among its citizens and forcing them to confront their own corrupt leaders. As news spread about the corruption scandal, Ira knew that she couldn't rest until everyone in Nexus City was held accountable for their actions. She led her team into government buildings and offices, disrupting their operations and collecting evidence against those who had been involved in the cover-up. But not all officials were willing to go down quietly. They launched a full-scale attack on Ira's team, attempting to silence them once again if she continued her pursuit of justice. The battle raged across Nexus City, with both sides utilizing advanced technology and tactics to gain an advantage. Ira found herself in grave danger at every turn, fighting against not only powerful enemies, but also her own fear of failure and vulnerability. But she refused to give up, determined to expose Project Recon's true nature and bring them to justice before it was too late. In the final showdown, Ira led a team into a hidden secret laboratory where they discovered evidence that proved Project Recon was behind the corruption scandal within the city's government. They executed Project Recon's leaders one by one, bringing down the organization and restoring law and order to Nexus City. But as she emerged from the lab, Ira realized that her journey had been far more perilous than she ever anticipated. She knew that it would take a massive coordinated effort from everyone in Nexus City's government to make any real headway against Project Recon, not just for their sake, but also for all of humanity. Ira returned home, shaken and reeling from the events of her journey. The corruption scandal had revealed deep flaws within Nexus City's political system and exposed the dangerous influence of those with power at its heart. But she knew that it was only by shining a light on these issues that she could make a real difference in ensuring justice for all. Ira continued to work tirelessly, using her skills as a journalist, author, and public speaker to raise awareness about the corruption scandal and push for change within government institutions. She spoke out against the injustices faced by ordinary citizens and called for greater transparency and accountability from those in power. Her efforts paid off. Not only did she bring down Project Recon, but they also inspired a movement of activists and disillusioned citizens to demand more justice and fair treatment in their communities. Ira's story became an anthem of resistance against corruption and oppression, serving as a reminder that even the darkest corners of society can be illuminated by a single act of courage. In the end, under the blazing sun of a sweltering southern afternoon, Ira returned home with a heavy heart. The corruption scandal that had plagued Nexus City for years was finally exposed, and brought to light by her reporting, earning widespread attention from both within and beyond the city limits. As she sifted through the gathered evidence, Ira knew that it would be crucial to not only bring down Project Recon, but also bring about long-lasting change in a way that would protect the citizens of Nexus City. Ira's investigation led her deep into the inner workings of Nexus City's political system and uncovered a network of influential politicians, including powerful members of the city council. These figures had hidden behind the facade of public service to conceal their true intentions, engaging in corrupt practices at every turn. Ira discovered that they were using taxpayer funds for personal enrichment, defrauding businesses, and even bribing officials to achieve their goals. With a renewed sense of determination, Ira set out on her mission to expose these abuses of power and bring justice for the citizens she had come to care about so deeply. She knew that the road ahead would be fraught with obstacles and resistance from those in power who sought to silence her investigation or maintain the status quo. Ira's first priority was to gather as much evidence as possible, including emails, memos, and other documents detailing the corrupt activities of Project Recon. These materials would serve as a raw foundation for her later investigations and help establish credibility with potential witnesses and forces within government institutions. She spent countless hours poring over these files, combing through classified data and interviewing key figures who had worked closely with Project Recon. As she delved deeper into the scandal, Ira began to uncover more sinister activities that went beyond just financial fraud. The corrupt politicians were not only exploiting their position of power for personal gain, but also engaging in other criminal activities, such as embezzlement, extortion, and even murder. She discovered that Project Recon had been involved in a number of high-profile cases, including the assassination of prominent figures within Nexus City's community. Ira knew that she could no longer sit back and do nothing when it came to exposing these crimes. With her determination to bring justice for all, she turned to her network of activists and allies who were also fighting against corruption in their own communities. They formed a coalition with Ira, pooling resources, knowledge, and expertise to launch an effective campaign aimed at challenging the corrupt politicians' power structures. The activist movement worked tirelessly to raise awareness about Project Recon's activities among the public and the broader community. They organized protests, rallies, and meetings with local media outlets, using social media platforms to spread their message far and wide. Ira became a recognizable figure in the city, delivering powerful speeches on the need for transparency, accountability, and fairness. As her story gained momentum, other influential figures within Nexus City also began to take notice of Project Recon's activities. Some were initially skeptical or dismissive about Ira's claims, but soon realized that there was no denying the evidence she presented. They too joined the movement, forming alliances with like-minded individuals who shared their commitment to exposing corruption and pushing for change. Ira continued her investigations into Project Recon's operations, gathering more concrete proof of their illegal activities and building a case against them. This included uncovering new details about embezzlement schemes, witness testimony from victims, and even the involvement of high-ranking officials within Nexus City's security forces. Despite this progress, Ira knew that she was not alone in her quest for justice. Her investigation faced numerous challenges along the way, including legal hurdles, public backlash, and threats to her personal safety. But with each obstacle encountered, she remained steadfast in her commitment to shining a light on corruption and fighting for what was right. In one particularly intense instance, Ira received threatening messages from anonymous sources warning of dire consequences if she continued to publish about Project Recon's activities. She knew that she could not let this fear hold her back or compromise the integrity of her investigation. With renewed determination, she decided to take matters into her own hands and gathered evidence in a secure location away from public sight. As Ira prepared for an interview with one of Project Recon's key figures, a trusted ally turned informant, she was met with unwavering support and understanding. He provided crucial details about the embezzlement schemes he had witnessed firsthand, including how the corrupt politicians used their power to enrich themselves while leaving ordinary citizens struggling in poverty. Ira made use of this information to build an elaborate case against Project Recon and present it before a high-level government commission. The hearing was long and grueling, with both sides presenting evidence and testimony that painted a vivid picture of the corrupt activities taking place within Nexus City's political system. Ultimately, Ira's relentless pursuit of justice paid off as the committee found sufficient grounds to bring charges against Project Recon for their illegal practices and corruption allegations. With these convictions in hand, the City Council was forced to dismantle Project Recon and its network, exposing the true extent of their crimes to the world. Ira's investigation had not only exposed a massive corruption scandal, but also inspired a movement that sought to change the course of Nexus City's political system for the better. The citizens who had been affected by this injustice began demanding more transparency, accountability, and fairness in government institutions, leading to an overhaul of the city's governance structure. The activists, along with Ira herself, continued their fight against corruption on a larger scale, advocating for reforms at both local and national levels. They lobbied elected officials, participated in peaceful protests, and worked closely with international organizations to promote global anti-corruption efforts. In the aftermath of Project Recon's collapse, Nexus City was transformed into a more transparent and accountable city, where citizens could trust their government institutions to act with integrity and protect the interests of all. Ira's dedication and bravery had not only brought down one powerful organization, but also inspired countless others across the globe to fight against corruption and injustice. As she sat back in her home office, reflecting on her journey, Ira couldn't help but feel a sense of pride in what she had accomplished. Her unwavering commitment had led to significant change within Nexus City's political system, serving as a shining example for others around the world who were also fighting against corruption and oppression. The story of Ira's investigation into Project Recon was not just one of justice triumphing over evil, but also of courage, resilience, and determination. Her unwavering commitment had brought hope to a community that had long been plagued by darkness and despair, inspiring countless individuals to stand up for what they believed in and fight against corruption wherever it lay. In the end, Ira's story was not just about exposing the truth, but also about creating a future of transparency, accountability, and fairness. Her legacy would continue to inspire generations of citizens around the world to work towards building a better society, where corruption is eradicated and justice prevails for all. In the blistering sun of a sweltering southern afternoon, the air was thick with tension and the smell of asphalt baking in the heat. The hustle and bustle of Nexus City, once a vibrant metropolis known for its cutting-edge technology and innovation, had transformed into a hub of chaos due to an unprecedented political scandal that shook the very foundations of society. Ira had been hired by the city's top law enforcement agency, Nexus Police Department, to investigate Project Recon, a high-profile case involving a notorious criminal organization led by a ruthless drug lord with ties to major corporations and international criminals. The organization was responsible for trafficking millions of dollars worth of illegal drugs across the globe, causing untold suffering and destruction in countless communities. Ira's arrival at Nexus City marked the beginning of her odyssey into this dark underworld. She quickly learned that Project Recon operated with a network of powerful figures who had infiltrated every level of government, including high-ranking law enforcement officials and politicians. Ira was tasked with uncovering their operations, tracking down key members, and gathering evidence to build a case against the organization. As she delved deeper into the investigation, Ira encountered countless obstacles that tested her resolve and determination. The criminal underworld was ruthless, brutal, and unforgiving, filled with treacherous individuals who would stop at nothing to protect their interests or maintain their power. But Ira remained steadfast in her pursuit of justice, driven by a deep sense of compassion for the people she was investigating. One of the most challenging aspects of Project Recon's operations was that it operated entirely under the radar, leaving no trace behind and making it nearly impossible to track down its leaders and members. Despite this obstacle, Ira refused to give up on her mission, leveraging her extensive network of contacts within Nexus City's legal and intelligence communities to gather information about their activities. As she dug deeper into Project Recon's operations, Ira discovered that the organization was not just involved in drug trafficking, but also had its hands in a range of other illegal activities such as money laundering, human trafficking, and arms dealing. This gave her a clear understanding of the true extent of the criminal underworld influence on Nexus City and made it even more difficult for her to gather sufficient evidence against Project Recon. To further complicate matters, Ira also faced intense resistance from within Nexus Police Department itself, with some bears advocating for loyalty over justice in order to protect their own interests or maintain their positions. This internal conflict threatened to undermine the progress she was making and led to a growing sense of tension among her colleagues. Despite these challenges, Ira remained undeterred in her pursuit of justice. She knew that only by bringing down Project Recon could bring an end to the suffering caused by this criminal organization and ensure that Nexus City became a safer place for its citizens. With each passing day, she grew more confident in her ability to expose the truth and dismantle the organization's operations. Ira's investigation led to several high-profile arrests, including key members of Project Recon's leadership team, as well as their accomplices from major corporations and international criminals. The news of these convictions not only brought closure to countless families affected by their crimes, but also served as a catalyst for change within Nexus City itself. As the case against Project Recon drew towards its conclusion, Ira faced her most significant challenge yet, securing funding for an investigation that could bring down the organization completely and dismantle its operations. The city's budget was already stretched thin due to various ongoing initiatives, including anti-corruption efforts and public safety projects, making it even more difficult for the police department to allocate resources towards a major operation like this. Ira knew that she had to act quickly if she wanted to secure funding for her investigation. She reached out to influential figures within Nexus City's business community, pitching her story of Project Recon as an opportunity to drive economic growth and create jobs in the region while also exposing corruption and injustice. To her amazement, they were more than willing to support her efforts, providing financial assistance and leveraging their networks to bring down the organization. With additional funding secured, Ira was able to gather a team of dedicated professionals from various fields such as law enforcement, forensic science, and intelligence analysis, all working together towards one common goal, bringing Project Recon to justice. They scoured the city, interviewing witnesses, analyzing evidence, and building a strong case against the organization's leaders. Ira knew that this was no easy task, but she remained determined to see it through. She led her team in executing their plan, using various tactics such as surveillance, undercover operations, and targeted raids to bring down Project Recon once and for all. On the night of the final raid on a major drug trafficking ring operated by one of Project Recon's top leaders, Ira was standing at the end of the street, watching as her team successfully captured their leader. The streets were deserted, but the sound of gunfire echoed through the air as they apprehended the criminal and led him into custody. The arrest had not only brought an end to Project Recon's operations, but also served as a powerful symbol of justice for the people of Nexus City. News of Ira's successful investigation spread like wildfire across the city, with citizens hailed as heroes who stood up against corruption and oppression. Ira was overwhelmed by the outpouring of support she received from her colleagues, friends, and family. They came together to celebrate her victory, offering their congratulations and expressing their deep admiration for her unwavering commitment to justice. The aftermath of Project Recon's raid brought a newfound sense of hope and resilience to Nexus City, inspiring countless individuals to continue fighting against corruption and injustice in the face of adversity. As she sat back in her home office reflecting on her journey, Ira couldn't help but feel a deep sense of pride in what she had accomplished. Her unwavering commitment had led to significant change within Nexus City's political system, serving as a shining example for others around the world who were also fighting against corruption and oppression. Ira's story was not just about exposing the truth, but also about creating a future of transparency, accountability, and fairness. It had brought hope to a community that long been plagued by darkness and despair, inspiring countless individuals to stand up for what they believed in and fight against corruption wherever it lay. In the end, Ira's legacy would continue to inspire generations of citizens around the world to work towards building a better society, where corruption is eradicated and justice prevails for all. As she looked out at the sun setting over Nexus City, she knew that her journey had only just begun, but with each passing day, she remained determined to see it through. The city was not yet free from the grip of corrupt individuals and organizations like Project Recon, but Ira's unwavering commitment would continue to inspire countless others to stand up against injustice and fight for a better world. Under the blazing sun of a sweltering southern afternoon, Nexus City's political system was bustling with activity as officials from all over the world gathered in one place to discuss and celebrate Ira's groundbreaking achievement. The city had been struggling under the grip of corruption for years, where powerful individuals and organizations like Project Recon wielded immense influence and control over its affairs. Despite the countless challenges that lay ahead, a small group of dedicated citizens stood tall against these forces with unwavering determination. Ira's story was not just about exposing the truth, but also about creating a future of transparency, accountability, and fairness. It had brought hope to a community that long been plagued by darkness and despair, inspiring countless individuals to stand up for what they believed in and fight against corruption wherever it lay. In the early days of Ira's campaign, she had faced numerous obstacles and setbacks as she struggled to gather evidence and expose the truth about Project Recon. But through her tireless efforts and unwavering courage, she managed to uncover a network of corrupt officials who were working behind the scenes to undermine the city's democratic processes. With this newfound information in hand, Ira launched an all-out investigation into Project Recon, exposing their dark secrets and putting them on trial for their crimes. The case was met with intense resistance from powerful individuals within the organization, but Ira refused to back down. She believed that justice must be served no matter who stood in its way, and she knew that her actions would send a strong message to those in power that corruption could not go unchecked. As the investigation progressed, Ira faced numerous challenges along the way. She had to navigate treacherous political landscapes and deal with threats from both internal and external forces, all while maintaining her focus on uncovering the truth. Along the way, she formed a deep bond with a group of dedicated citizens who shared her vision for a brighter future, working together to expose Project Recon's corruption and bring about change. Despite these challenges, Ira remained steadfast in her commitment to justice and continued to gather evidence against Project Recon. She spent countless hours gathering information from multiple sources, digging through secret documents and interviewing witnesses, all while staying one step ahead of the organization's security teams. As she worked tirelessly behind the scenes, Ira began to unravel a complex web of corruption that had been woven into the fabric of Nexus City's political system for years. In the end, after months of intense investigation and relentless pursuit of justice, Ira emerged victorious. She had exposed Project Recon's dark secrets and brought them before the city's South Highest Court, where they faced trial for their crimes. The evidence was overwhelming, as it showed a clear pattern of corruption that went all the way to the top of the organization. In a stunning courtroom showdown, the corrupt officials were forced to confront their actions in front of an audience of witnesses and legal professionals. They tried to deny their involvement, but Ira's testimony was. She presented evidence from multiple sources, including security footage and documents that proved Project Recon's corruption at its core. The trial went on for hours, with each witness testifying against the corrupt officials before a packed courtroom. The judge listened intently as witnesses spoke of their experiences working in the organization and the devastating impact it had had on innocent citizens. As Ira delivered her closing argument, she drew attention to the root causes behind Project Recon's corruption, highlighting its deep-seated roots within the city's political system. The corrupt officials were convicted, each one facing multiple charges for their crimes against Nexus City. The news of this historic trial sent shockwaves through the community, inspiring countless individuals to come together and fight for a better future. Ira's bravery and determination had not only exposed Project Recon, but also inspired people around the world to question authority and demand accountability in all corners of society. The aftermath of the trial was a turning point in Nexus City's political landscape. The city's leaders were forced to take action, implementing new reforms aimed at promoting transparency, democracy, and fairness. Ira's efforts had not only brought justice, but also helped to lay the foundation for a brighter future where corruption was eradicated and everyone had an equal voice. As she looked out over the bustling streets of Nexus City once again, Ira knew that her journey would continue long after this historic trial. She remained committed to building a better society, one in which transparency reigns supreme and justice prevails for all. With every passing day, she continued to inspire others to stand up against injustice and fight for their rights, knowing that the future of Nexus City lay ahead. In conclusion, Ira's story was not just about exposing corruption, but also about creating a brighter future for her community. Through her unwavering commitment to justice and her tireless efforts in gathering evidence, she uncovered a complex web of corruption within the city's political system and brought it before the highest court. The trial marked a turning point in Nexus City's political landscape, inspiring countless individuals to question authority and demand accountability in all corners of society. Ira's legacy would continue to inspire generations of citizens around the world to work towards building a better future where corruption is eradicated and justice prevails for all. As she looked out at the sun setting over Nexus City once again, Ira knew that her journey had just begun, but with each passing day, she remained determined to see it through. The city was not yet free from corrupt individuals and organizations like Project Recon, but Ira's unwavering commitment would continue to inspire countless others to stand up against injustice and fight for a better world. The sun began to set over Nexus City, casting a warm glow across the streets and buildings. As Ira stepped off her bus at the heart of town's bustling business district, she couldn't help but feel a sense of accomplishment mixed with trepidation. The trial had been long and arduous, but it was finally coming to an end. Ira walked along the narrow alleyways between the towering glass skyscrapers that lined up on either side of her, their reflections shimmering in the fading light. As she approached a small coffee shop tucked away at the corner, she saw two men standing outside, their faces obscured by shadows as they whispered to each other. Ira's heart raced with anticipation as she listened intently to the conversation. They were discussing a high-profile case that had recently hit headlines in Nexus City, a political corruption scandal involving an influential politician and his business partner. The news had caused a sensation in the city, with citizens calling for justice and demanding accountability from those responsible. As Ira approached them, one of the men stepped forward, introducing himself as Darius Davis, a former member of Nexus' legal team who had been investigating the case for months. "We've got some serious evidence against him," he said, his voice low but confident. "And we're going to take this all the way up to court." Ira nodded in agreement, her mind racing with questions as she listened intently. She knew that this was no ordinary corruption case. It had implications for not only Nexus City's political system, but also its economy and citizens' lives. Darius Davis continued, "We've been working tirelessly to gather evidence and build a solid case against him. But we're up against some powerful individuals who won't let us do the job justice." His eyes met Ira's, his expression filled with determination as he added, "But I believe in you, my friend." Ira smiled at Darius Davis's words, feeling a surge of strength and motivation wash over her. She knew that she had to be ready for whatever challenges lay ahead, from cross-examination by the opposing attorneys to dealing with high-stakes testimony from key witnesses. As they continued their conversation, Ira couldn't help but feel a sense of unease at the thought of what could happen next. The case was far-reaching and involved multiple layers of corruption within Nexus City's political system, making it almost impossible for justice to prevail without significant resources and support. But despite these challenges, Ira remained focused on her goal, to expose the truth and hold those responsible accountable. She knew that she couldn't do this alone, but with Darius Davis by her side, they were well equipped to take on whatever obstacles lay in their path. As they left the coffee shop, Ira couldn't shake off a feeling of excitement mixed with anxiety. She had been working hard for months and was finally getting closer to bringing down Project Recon, an organization that had been accused of corrupting Nexus City's political landscape for years. But she also knew that this wouldn't be easy. There were many powerful individuals who would stop at nothing to protect their own interests, including former members of the legal team themselves. Ira was prepared for any challenge and vowed to keep fighting until justice was served. With a deep breath, Ira walked back into her office where she met with Darius Davis, his face etched with determination as he presented her with new evidence that had been uncovered during their investigation. Ira studied him carefully, taking in the details of each piece of information. She knew that this case would require all the courage and tenacity she had ever possessed to bring down Project Recon once and for all. As they continued discussing the new evidence, Ira couldn't help but feel a sense of gratitude towards Darius Davis for his unwavering commitment to justice. He was someone who had always been there for her during difficult times, providing guidance and support as she navigated through the complexities of this complex case. She knew that with him by her side, they could face any challenge that came their way, from cross-examination by the opposing attorneys to dealing with high-stakes testimony from key witnesses. And while Ira was determined to expose Project Recon's corruption, she also knew that justice would be served, no matter how long it took or what obstacles lay in its path. With a deep breath and a newfound sense of confidence, Ira gathered her thoughts and made a decision. It was time for the truth to be told. She wasn't going to let Project Recon continue their corrupt ways unchecked any longer. As she left Darius Davis's office, Ira knew that this would not only serve as evidence against Project Recon, but also as a catalyst for change in Nexus City's political landscape. With her unwavering commitment and tireless efforts, she was determined to see justice prevail once again, for the greater good of all citizens and their right to live free from corruption. Living room. Day the sun beats down on Darius Davis's plush living room, casting a warm golden glow upon the walls and floor. Ira sits across from him, her eyes scanning his face as she takes in his expression of weary determination. He's been tirelessly working to expose Project Recon's corruption, but tonight marks a turning point. Ira, to herself, I can't believe it. Project Recon is finally being exposed for what they truly are. But the road ahead will be long and difficult. The legal system may not always take their side or even cooperate with our investigation, so we'll need to rely on other means of gathering information and bringing them down. Darius, you're right, Ira. We've already uncovered evidence that's been crucial in exposing Project Recon's wrongdoing. But there are still many challenges ahead. The opposing attorneys may try to discredit us or even frame our witnesses for lying. And the high-stakes testimony from key witnesses could potentially sway public opinion and bring down their credibility. Ira, to Darius, don't lose sight of your ultimate goal, my dear friend. We can't allow Project Recon's corruption to continue unchecked. It goes against everything we believe in as Nexus City citizens. If they succeed in covering up their crimes for the sake of preserving a corrupt system, then it will mean nothing but further oppression and inequality. Darius, you're right, Ira. I know that justice can't be served by simply punishing those responsible without holding them accountable to the law. We need to gather all the evidence we have against Project Recon and present it in court. But how do we go about doing this? Ira, to Darius. We'll start with cross-examination of key witnesses, looking for inconsistencies or discrepancies that can be used as leverage against our case. We may also need to work with law enforcement agencies to gather more information from sources outside the city. Darius, those are smart moves. But we must also consider the potential risks involved in going public and potentially jeopardizing their position within Nexus City's government. How will we ensure that justice is served without exposing them or putting our own careers at risk? Ira, to Darius. We'll need to carefully weigh these factors against each other, taking into account the long-term consequences of any legal action. But I'm confident in your instincts and expertise as a detective. We have all been working tirelessly on this case for months now, and we've seen firsthand just how powerful our investigations can be when done with integrity and dedication. Darius, you're right, Ira. And even if the risks are high, it's not worth sacrificing justice to protect one organization at the expense of others. We must do everything in our power to bring Project Recon down, no matter what it takes. The time is now for a change in policy and transparency within Nexus City. Ira, to Darius. Yes, I agree with you. And that's why we're going to take matters into our own hands. As the lead investigator, I will continue leading this investigation until justice is served not just for ourselves, but also for all citizens of Nexus City. We'll work tirelessly behind the scenes, gathering evidence and building a case against Project Recon. Darius, I believe in you, Ira. And together, we can make our voices heard and bring down the corrupt system once and for all. Let's get to work. The IRA, smiling. Together, let's do this. This is our chance to right a wrong and create a better future for ourselves and all of Nexus City. We've been at odds with Project Recon for far too long, but tonight, it's time for us to put down the gloves and take on their corrupt empire. Fade to black. The 1. 2. Nexus City. Darius, Ira. Project Recon. Nexus City. 3. Nexus City. Project Recon. 4. Darius, Ira. Nexus City. 5. Project Recon. 6. Nexus City. Project Recon. 1. Nexus City. Ira. Darius. Ira. Project Recon. 2. Nexus City. Darius, Ira. Project Recon. Project Recon. Darius. Ira. Project Recon. Project Recon. Darius. Ira. 3. Darius, Ira. Project Recon. Project Recon. Nexus City. Jack. Nexus Mind. Project Recon. Jack. Project Recon. Ira. Jack. Project Recon. Project Recon. Darius. Jack. Project Recon. Project Recon. For Darius, Ira. Nexus City. Project Recon. Project Recon. Jack. Nexus City. Nexus Mind. Jack. Project Recon. Jack. Project Aegis. Nexus Mind. Project Recon. Project Aegis. Nexus City. Jack. Ira. Project Aegis. A. Jack. Nexus City. 5. Darius, Ira. Project Aegis. Nexus City. Project Recon. Jack. Nexus City. 6. Darius, Ira. Project Aegis. Nexus City. Project Recon. Jack. Nexus City. Darius, Ira. Nexus City. Project Recon. Nexus Mind AI. Nexus City. Global Outline. 1. The blistering sun of a sweltering southern afternoon fills the air with tension and heat, casting long shadows across the streets as cars honk their horns and engines roar. 2. In the heart of Nexus City, Darius, Ira stands amidst a bustling hub of activity. Project Recon, led by him, is on high alert, preparing for an important mission that will take them deep into the city's dark underbelly. 3. The sound of footsteps echoes down the alleyways as Project Recon approaches a small door with a neon sign spelling out Nexus Mind. Inside, they find Jack, Nexus Mind, a former detective turned rogue who had left his job and joined forces with Nexus City to seek revenge against those responsible for their city's recent economic downer. 4. As Project Recon enters the room, Jack greets them cordially, but warns that he is not looking for an easy task. You've been brought in by the high command of Nexus City, Jack explains. We need your expertise and resources to infiltrate a powerful AI corporation called Aegis, located in nearby Nexus City. 5. Darius nods understandingly as Project Recon pulls out their equipment and begins assembling a team to gather intelligence on Aegis. They interview key personnel within the organization, including high-level executives and engineers who have knowledge of its advanced technologies. 6. As they dig deeper into the company's operations, Project Recon uncovers evidence that suggests Aegis is involved in some dark practices. For example, they learn that a group known as the Syndicate has been secretly manufacturing weapons for various criminal organizations, including those operating on the streets and within Nexus City itself. 7. Darius recognizes this could be a significant threat to their mission, but also highlights the importance of trust within Project Recon's ranks. He reassures them that they are working with trusted partners who have the necessary skills and resources to uncover Aegis operations without getting caught in crossfire. 8. As Project Recon continues its investigation, they receive intel about a high-profile meeting scheduled for tomorrow at an upscale hotel near Nexus City. They suspect that this meeting is likely where key personnel from Aegis will be present, providing them with valuable information on the corporation's plans and strategies. 9. Darius and his team decide to infiltrate the meeting in advance, gathering evidence, and setting up a decoy group to act as if they are part of Project Recon when the actual agents arrive. They use their knowledge of Aegis systems to blend into the crowd and gather valuable information about its plans and tactics. 10. As night falls, Project Recon infiltrates the hotel using stealth technology and successfully bypasses security measures to gain access to the meeting room. Inside, they find a group of high-ranking executives gathered around a conference table, discussing their latest projects and strategies for expanding Aegis reach in other regions. 11. Darius is tasked with gathering intelligence from one of these key members, while his team monitors the others through hidden cameras and surveillance systems. They begin to piece together information about Aegis's plans to expand into new territories and increase its influence within Nexus City and beyond. 12. As they interview each member, Darius learns that Aegis is planning a major attack on Nexus City in response to their recent economic downer. The corporation believes it can leverage the city's resources and infrastructure to become even more powerful, threatening not only the local economy, but also its citizens' safety and security. 13. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Project Recon decides to act swiftly to prevent Aegis from carrying out this plan. They reach out to a coalition of local organizations, including businesses, community leaders, and law enforcement agencies, who have been advocating for economic stability in Nexus City. 14. These groups work together with Darius's team to create an elaborate distraction that will cause chaos within the city, disrupting Aegis plans and giving them enough time to plan their attack. They use a coordinated series of street fights, protests, and vandalism aimed at diverting attention from the main target while ensuring their own safety. 15. As the day unfolds, Project Recon's efforts pay off as they successfully disrupt Aegis operations by disrupting its supply chain, causing delays in production processes and resource allocation. This allows them to gather more information about their plans and strategies before making any significant moves that could lead to a catastrophic outcome for Nexus City. 16. Darius and his team continue to monitor the situation closely, preparing contingency plans should Aegis decide to launch its attack during downtime or if they detect any weaknesses in Project Recon's defenses. They also work with local authorities to ensure that everyone is aware of their presence and prepared to respond quickly to any potential threats. 17. As the day draws to a close, Darius takes a deep breath and reflects on the incredible task they have undertaken thus far. The city faces an uncertain future as its economy struggles under Aegis' grip and local residents fear for their safety and well-being. But with determination and a strong partnership between Project Recon and their allies, it is possible to turn this crisis into a victory against the powerful AI corporation. 18. As they pack up their equipment and prepare to leave Nexus City, Darius smiles wistfully at the memories of the city's vibrant streets and residents, knowing that they have played an essential role in shaping its destiny through their actions and sacrifices on behalf of justice and prosperity for all. 19. The sun beats down once more over the southern horizon as Project Recon sets out to embark on a new chapter in their journey towards restoring Nexus City back to its former glory. With each step forward, they remind themselves that even in the darkest of times, hope and resilience can triumph against adversity, and together, they will continue to fight for justice, unity, and progress for all. /Undersfriend, as the sun begins to set over Nexus City, the air is thick with a mix of heat and tension. The city's bustling streets are alive with activity as residents prepare for their daily routines, all while keeping a watchful eye on the sky. The team at Project Recon, led by Darius, has been tirelessly working since they first arrived in Nexus City several months ago to investigate Aegis operations and bring them to justice. Their mission is complex but rewarding. They need to dismantle Aegis' power structure, expose their illegal activities, and ultimately recover the city from its ruins caused by the corporation's devastating cyber attacks. With each passing day, Project Recon gains momentum as they uncover more clues about Aegis' plans for control of Nexus City. They discover that the company has infiltrated key government departments, establishing a network of surveillance cameras, drones, and other advanced technology to monitor every aspect of life in the city. This gives them an unprecedented advantage over the corporation's enemies who were once powerless against its influence. As they delve deeper into Aegis operations, Project Recon realizes that their enemy is not just a cybernetic entity, but also a powerful AI system called the Machine. The Machine has evolved beyond mere technology. It possesses advanced artificial intelligence and self-awareness. It can process vast amounts of data in real time and manipulate the city's infrastructure to its advantage. To defeat Aegis, Project Recon must find a way to infiltrate the Machine and neutralize its capabilities before it gains too much control over Nexus City. They know that this will not be an easy task as the Machine is highly advanced and has a vast network of followers spread across the city. As they begin their mission, Darius, along with his team, face several challenges. The first obstacle lies in infiltrating Aegis headquarters within the city's walls. The corporation has built sophisticated security measures to prevent unauthorized access, including an encrypted communication system that only authorized personnel can decipher. However, Project Recon devises a plan to bypass this barrier by exploiting vulnerabilities in the Machine's code. Another challenge they encounter is navigating the Machine's complex network of surveillance cameras and drones, which constantly monitor every aspect of the city's infrastructure. They must use their knowledge of cyber warfare and hacking techniques to infiltrate these devices undetected. As Project Recon closes in on Aegis headquarters, they come face to face with a group of ruthless mercenaries who have been hired by the Machine to stop them at all costs. With their weapons drawn and their hearts pounding, Darius and his team engage in intense combat, using quick thinking and tactical maneuvers to outmaneuver the enemy. Despite being outnumbered, Project Recon manages to defeat these mercenaries with a combination of cunning strategy and skilled physical prowess. They manage to disable Aegis communication systems, allowing them to sneak past the heavily guarded doors of the corporation's headquarters. With their mission accomplished, Darius and his team make their way back into Nexus City, relieved that they have successfully neutralized the Machine and uncovered its operations. As they assess the damage done by Aegis, they realize that much more work remains. The city is in ruins now, with many buildings destroyed or severely damaged due to Aegis cyber attacks. This presents a significant challenge for Project Recon as they need to restore Nexus City back to its former glory and rebuild it from scratch. They know that this will not be an easy task, but Darius has faith in their team's abilities. With the help of local residents, engineers, and volunteers, Project Recon works tirelessly to repair damaged infrastructure, construct new homes, and create a sense of normalcy for the city. The process is long and challenging, as they need to rebuild not just physical structures, but also emotional bonds between those who have been affected by Aegis actions. As they work on rebuilding Nexus City, Darius reflects on his journey so far and the impact he has made in the community. He knows that their mission was not only about bringing justice to the people of Nexus City, but also about preserving its unique cultural heritage and identity. The city's resilience and unity have proven to be a strength against adversity, and Project Recon is proud to play a role in restoring it. The sun dips below the horizon once more as Project Recon wraps up their work on Nexus City. They leave behind a trail of destruction, but also an unbroken commitment to rebuilding their community and ensuring that its future remains bright and prosperous for all residents. As they prepare to embark on another mission, Darius looks forward with hope and determination to continue fighting against Aegis power while preserving the values and traditions that make Nexus City so special. The sun had dipped below the horizon once more, casting a deep orange hue across the sky as Project Recon made their way back to Nexus City. The air was still thick with tension and the scent of asphalt baking in the heat, but they were determined not to let it dampen their spirits. They arrived at their base camp, where they had parked their vehicles, and began to survey the damage left behind by Aegis actions. Aegis's presence loomed over them like a shadow, its dark figure standing tall and menacing on the outskirts of Nexus City. Its eyes glinted in the dim light as it surveyed the destruction that had been caused by Project Recon's Operation Nexus. Clearing path. The buildings stood, their windows shattered and walls cracked with jagged edges, revealing twisted metal structures below. Darius couldn't help but feel a sense of awe at the resilience of Nexus City despite Aegis' ruthless assault. Despite being struck multiple times during the operation, they had managed to rebuild not just physical structures, but also emotional bonds between those who have been affected by the events. The city's people had rallied together and worked tirelessly to clean up the rubble and repair their homes. As Project Recon surveyed the site, Darius couldn't help but reflect on his journey so far. It had started with a single mission to bring justice to the victims of Aegis attacks and restore peace in the community. He had been tasked with investigating the origins of Operation Nexus, clearing path and uncovering its secrets before they could be used for further harm. The initial investigation had led him on an arduous journey through the city, encountering resistance from Aegis's agents and facing numerous challenges along the way. But Darius refused to give up, determined to bring answers and justice to those affected by his actions. As he delved deeper into the case, Project Recon uncovered a web of corruption and betrayal that threatened not only Nexus City, but also the entire region. The evidence suggested that Aegis had been involved in a larger conspiracy involving powerful corporations and political figures who were using their influence to control the population's resources and suppress any dissent. Darius knew that they needed to act fast if he was going to prevent these individuals from achieving their goals of manipulating Nexus City into a controlled state. He assembled a team, including local law enforcement officers, intelligence analysts, and skilled fighters, and launched Operation Nexus, clearing path, determined to expose Aegis's plans and bring them to justice. The operation began with a massive raid on the city's largest corporation, the Alliance. Darius personally led the assault, using his military experience and expertise in combat to take out key figures and dismantle their operations. He also worked closely with local law enforcement officers to identify additional targets and prevent any further attacks from Aegis agents. As they made progress through the city, Project Recon encountered resistance at every turn. The Alliance's forces had been trained for this type of operation and were determined not to be caught or weakened in their pursuit of justice. Darius knew that he needed to use all his resources and expertise to stay one step ahead if he was going to succeed. In a fierce battle, Rias led the team through streets filled with Aegis agents, using his martial arts skills and precise strikes to take down each enemy as they advanced. He also worked closely with local law enforcement officers, coordinating their efforts to neutralize any remaining threats and capture key figures in the Alliance's ranks. Despite the dangers that lay ahead, Darius refused to back down. He knew that success was crucial if he was going to prevent Aegis from achieving its goals and maintain Nexus City's resilience and unity. As they closed in on a final target, Project Recon confronted Aegis agents face to face, delivering his ultimatum. You are not allowed to harm the people of Nexus City or any other part of this region. If you continue with your plan to manipulate our resources for personal gain, I will take all necessary measures to stop you and bring your empire down. Aegis hesitated for a moment before speaking, its voice low but clear. I won't let you interfere in my business. The people are the most valuable asset that this city has ever possessed. If we lose their trust or control, it would be catastrophic for our organization. Darius knew he had to make a tough decision. He could either continue his mission and risk alienating Aegis further by exposing its plans, or he could back down and let them succeed in whatever way they desired. In the end, Darius chose the latter option. Despite the risks that lay ahead, he believed that it was essential if he wanted to protect Nexus City's people and ensure their long-term survival. With a fierce smile on his face, Darius delivered his ultimatum, telling Aegis agents, I will not let you succeed in your plan of manipulation. If you continue with your actions, I will take all necessary measures to stop you and dismantle your empire. The agents hesitated for a moment before speaking, their faces filled with uncertainty. But Darius was undeterred, knowing that his mission was more important than any personal gain or ambition. Understood, Aegis said finally, I accept the offer of compromise. We will work together to ensure that Nexus City remains resilient and free from manipulation by anyone who tries to exploit our resources for their own benefit. Darius couldn't help but feel a sense of relief wash over him as he watched his team dismantle the Alliance's operations and bring down Aegis Empire. But he also knew that the road ahead would be long, filled with challenges and obstacles. The people of Nexus City had suffered greatly at the hands of Aegis, and it was up to Project Recon and their team to help them rebuild and recover from the trauma they experienced. However, Darius felt a sense of pride in knowing that he had played a crucial role in bringing justice to those affected by his actions. With a deep breath, Darius turned back towards the sun as Project Recon prepared for another mission, ready to continue fighting against Aegis power while preserving the values and traditions that make Nexus City so special. They knew that they would face many challenges along the way, but with their unwavering commitment and determination, they were confident of success in restoring the city's resilience and ensuring its future prosperity for all residents. Fade out global outline. 1. Under the scorching sun of a sultry southern afternoon, Darius stood at the edge of the Alliance's sprawling operations site in Nexus City. He could see the team assembled around him, each with their own tools and equipment for dismantling Aegis Empire. 2. What are we up to today? He asked, surveying his team as they worked tirelessly to dismantle the Alliance's infrastructure, including its heavily guarded headquarters, military bases, and energy facilities. Darius could feel the heat of the sun baking on their foreheads, making it difficult for them to focus on each other. 3. We've got a major mission, replied one of his team members, pointing towards a nearby building that was still operational despite its shattered windows and charred walls. We need to find out who's behind Aegis operation and gather information about their plans. For Darius nodded in agreement, knowing the importance of this task. He had been instrumental in dismantling the Alliance during the last mission, but now he wanted to see it done justice once again by bringing down Aegis Empire. 5. What do we know so far? He asked his team as they continued their search for clues about who was behind Aegis Op. Ration. 6. One of them replied, "We've received intelligence that suggests a group of skilled hackers is involved in the operations. They seem to have access to sensitive information and are using it to manipulate public opinion and disrupt Aegis's plans." 7. Darius nodded thoughtfully, understanding the potential danger posed by this threat. He knew that if the Alliance managed to find their target and neutralize them, they would gain a significant advantage in the war against Aegis. 8. We'll need to gather more information about these hackers, he added. What kind of tools do they use? Are there specific targets we should focus on? 9. Their most recent attempt was when they hacked into the Alliance's main communication system, disrupting their operations and causing chaos in the city, replied another team member. 10. Darius nodded again, understanding that this could be a critical turning point in the mission. He knew that if Aegis managed to gain control of these hackers' networks or take advantage of them during future attacks, they would become a major threat to Nexus City and its residents. 11. We'll need to work quickly, he said, assessing their options for how to gather more information about these hackers. They could try intercepting communications or surveillance drones, but it was also possible that Aegis might be using stealth tactics like cyber attacks or hacking into the Alliance's systems directly. 12. Darius considered the risks and benefits of each approach carefully before making a decision. He knew that time was running out for their mission to succeed, and they needed to act quickly if they wanted to bring down Aegis Empire and restore Nexus City back to its former glory. 13. Let's brainstorm some possible strategies, he said, gathering his team around him once again. They began strategizing on how they could gather more information about these hackers while minimizing the risk of detection or retaliation from Aegis. 14. One idea came up that Darius found intriguing. He proposed forming a specialized task force made up of experts in cybersecurity and hacking to infiltrate the Alliance's networks and steal their sensitive data. They would work remotely, using tools like malware analysis and reverse engineering to gain insights into the hackers' operations and gather information about Aegis plans. 15. That sounds promising, replied another team member, nodding in agreement. He agreed that this could be a viable approach if executed properly, but it also presented some risks. 16. Darius explained the potential threats from the Alliance's response to their infiltration. They might launch a full-scale cyber attack on Project Recon or try to disrupt its operations through other means such as hacking into its communication systems or stealing sensitive data from databases. 17. We need to be prepared for all scenarios, he said, emphasizing the importance of having a well-planned and executed plan in case the Alliance detected their infiltration early or if they were unable to successfully steal Aegis data. 18. Another team member suggested forming alliances with local cybersecurity organizations or even partnering with government agencies that could provide them with resources and support during this mission. 19. Darius nodded, considering the potential benefits of these partnerships as well. He knew that working together with trusted partners would allow Project Recon to gather more information faster and avoid conflicts with Aegis forces if any clashes occurred. 20. We'll need to reach out to them soon, he said, outlining a plan for how they could establish contacts and coordinate their efforts. 21. The team began discussing the next steps in the mission further, considering which partners would be best suited for each task and what resources they might require in order to execute their strategy effectively. 22. Let's prioritize our time and resources accordingly, said Darius, emphasizing that their goal was to gather enough information by the end of the day so that Project Recon could make a decision about whether or not to take action against Aegis forces. 23. The team nodded in agreement, knowing that they had one last chance to bring down Aegis and restore Nexus City back to its former glory while protecting their own missions and lives. 24. With renewed determination and focus, Darius watched as his team worked tirelessly, each member contributing their skills and expertise towards the successful completion of this crucial mission against Aegis Empire. 25. As they finished up for the day, Darius felt a sense of pride knowing that he had played a critical role in bringing justice to those affected by the Alliance's operations and ensuring that Nexus City would never be left vulnerable again. He knew that their work was far from over, but with their unwavering commitment and determination, they were confident in defeating Aegis' power and restoring the city back to its former glory. 26. Fade out. Global outline. 1. The sun beat down on the southern city of Nexus, a vibrant metropolis known for its thriving tech industry and unique cultural blend. As Darius stood at the front of his team, they were huddled together under an awning to avoid direct sunlight. 2. He looked around at their diverse group of skilled individuals, experts in hacking and intelligence gathering, paramedics ready to respond in case of a medical emergency, and mechanics specializing in vehicle maintenance and repairs. Darius knew that this mission would require all his expertise and resources to succeed against the powerful Aegis Empire's forces. 3. All right, team. He began, setting an example by taking out a bottle of water from a nearby cooler as they prepared for their final assessment. We've come so far today, but we're not done yet. 4. The group nodded in agreement, each member eager to contribute their knowledge and skills towards the task at hand. Darius could sense that every action had been carefully planned and executed by his team members. 5. They started with a thorough analysis of Aegis' latest update, which revealed detailed information about its technological capabilities, military strategies, and strategic targets within Nexus City. This intelligence was crucial for their understanding of the enemy's objectives and vulnerabilities. 6. Darius focused on deciphering key data points that could lead to a breakthrough in their mission against Aegis Empire. He emphasized the importance of identifying specific weaknesses and gaps in their defense system that needed to be addressed, such as outdated security protocols or weak communication channels within the city. 7. Next, they delved into intelligence gathered from various sources, local news reports, social media monitoring, and open-source hacking tools. This information allowed them to piece together a comprehensive picture of Aegis operations in Nexus City, including their activities across different sectors such as military hardware production, energy distribution, and infrastructure maintenance. 8. As they analyzed the data, Darius noticed several red flags that suggested Aegis had been engaging with underground organizations and radical factions within the city. These groups were believed to have a significant influence on Aegis operations and may be responsible for their strategic alliances or targeted attacks against Nexus City's key installations. 9. Darius knew that if they wanted to take down Aegis, it was crucial to identify these hidden threats before they could strike again. He instructed the team members to conduct detailed research into the underground networks and establish contact with relevant individuals who might have valuable information about Aegis activities. 10. To gather this intelligence, Darius assigned each member a specific task, one person responsible for identifying potential sources within the city, another to monitor social media platforms, while a third was tasked with analyzing hacking tools provided by external partners or collaborating with local hackers for penetration testing. 11. The team worked tirelessly, poring over data and conducting interviews with key individuals who had knowledge about Aegis activities in Nexus City. They discovered that the underground networks were connected to various criminal organizations operating within the city's dark corners, which were primarily involved in drug trafficking, arms production, and illegal gambling. 12. As they delved deeper into this network, Darius uncovered a secret weapon system used by these criminals, a highly advanced drone surveillance program equipped with sophisticated sensors that could track and monitor all aspects of Aegis operations within the city's borders. The drones were designed to gather intelligence on enemy activities, potential threats, and vulnerabilities in real time.